when a little girl insisted that a police dog could find her missing friend. No one expected the truth her brave heart would uncover. The sun had barely climbed above the rooftops when Emma noticed Max's absence. Usually, he would be waiting at the corner of Elm Street, backpack bouncing as he waved goodbye before heading home. Today, the street was silent. Emma's small shoes tapped anxiously against the pavement as she retraced her steps, calling his name in rising urgency. Max. Max. Her voice echoed between the houses, swallowed by the morning air. Her stomach twisted, a knot of worry that refused to loosen. She had always been the brave one among her friends, the one who climbed the highest tree or faced the darkest attic. But fear pressed on her chest, now in a way she had never felt. By mid-morning, Emma's parents were on edge, pacing the living room with tight jaws and furrowed brows. "He must have just gone somewhere," her mother said, though her voice lacked conviction. Her father frowned. Phone clutched like a lifeline. "We'll call the school, check with the neighbors. Maybe he stayed late at the library." But Emma could see the tension behind their words. The adults were trying to soothe her, but they were frightened too. Max had never been late before, not even by a few minutes. Something was wrong, and Emma's gut screamed that it wasn't just a delay. Emma grabbed her backpack and slipped on her jacket. "I'll find him," she said firmly, though her voice quivered. Her parents hesitated. "Emma, it's dangerous," her father began, but she shook her head, her resolve solidifying. She had to try. Max was counting on someone, and if that someone didn't act, the consequences could be terrible. She ran toward the small police station at the edge of town, a place she had visited many times during community days. There, she knew Officer Daniels and the K-9 unit. Rex, the police dog she had admired from afar. She needed their help inside the station. The officers were busy with paperwork, radios crackling in the background. Emma's small figure seemed swallowed by the room. "Officer Daniels," she called, her voice trembling but insistent. The officer looked up, surprise flickering across his face at the sight of a lone girl standing so determinedly in the middle of the station. "Emma, what brings you here this early?" he asked, though his tone carried curiosity rather than alarm. Emma swallowed the lump in her throat and blurted out the truth. "Max didn't come home. I think he's missing. Please, Rex can help find him." There was a pause, a silence thick enough to feel like the walls themselves were holding their breath. The officers exchanged glances, skeptical, almost dismissive. "A little girl thinks a dog can track her missing friend?" one muttered under his breath, a hint of amusement in his tone. Emma's eyes flashed with defiance. "Rex knows. He always knows. Please, you have to let him try." Her voice, small but unwavering, carried a weight beyond her size. The officers hesitated, unsure if they should indulge a child's instinct or stick to procedure. Emma's heart thumped, a drum of both fear and determination. Finally, Officer Daniels stepped forward. "All right, Emma, calm down. We'll let Rex take a look, but you have to stay close, understand?" Emma nodded eagerly, her small hands clenched. Relief surged through her chest, mingled with fear. She had always believed in Rex's skills, but now, with Max's safety hanging in the balance, her faith felt both fragile and fierce. She followed the officer and the dog outside into the crisp morning air. The streets were quiet, almost unnervingly so, each sound magnified: the distant hum of a car, the rustle of leaves, the faint cry of a bird. Rex, a strong German shepherd with intelligent eyes, padded silently beside the officer. Emma knelt beside him, whispering Max's name softly, her breath misting in the chilly air. "Find him, Rex. Please find him," she urged. The dog sniffed the ground, ears flicking, tail stiffening, as if understanding the urgency. He moved ahead, alert and methodical, yet sensitive to Emma's presence, checking back with her occasionally as if to reassure her. Emma's chest tightened with every step, hope and fear warring inside her. She felt the weight of responsibility, a strange mix of childish worry and adult-like determination pressing down on her small frame. They reached the edge of the park, a familiar shortcut Max often took. Emma's voice wavered as she called his name again, louder this time, cutting through the stillness. Rex's nose twitched. He stopped suddenly, tail straight, gaze fixed on a faint trail leading into the nearby woods. "There," Emma whispered, heart leaping. Officer Daniels nodded, signaling the other officers to move carefully. Emma's pulse raced, a drumbeat of anticipation and dread. Every step into the trees felt like a gamble, each rustle of leaves a question mark. As they moved deeper, Emma noticed small signs: a knocked over backpack strap snagged on a branch, a single sneaker half buried in the dirt. Her chest tightened. Hope surged forward, mingled with terror. "It's him. It has to be him," she murmured, gripping Rex's collar. The dog's ears flicked, eyes bright, as he pulled gently toward the trail. Emma could feel his confidence, his trained certainty, and it strengthened her resolve. The woods felt endless, shadows stretching long, but she refused to let fear take over. She knew that Max needed her courage now more than ever. The sun climbed higher, spilling golden light across the trail, illuminating Emma's small, determined face. Sweat dampened her hair, and her legs ached, but she didn't stop. She called Max's name again, her voice cracking, mixing desperation with love. Rex responded with quiet barks, sniffing the air, ears pointed forward. Emma felt a strange bond, unspoken but powerful, forming between herself and the dog. Together, they were more than a girl and a police dog. They were a team, a lifeline threaded with trust and urgency. Suddenly, Rex froze, tail stiff, head low. Emma's stomach lurched. Something was close. She whispered softly, "Max, can you hear me?" The air seemed to still, holding its breath. Her heart pounded as she strained her eyes, searching shadows for any sign of her friend. Then, a faint sound, a small cough, weak but unmistakable, cut through the silence. Emma's eyes widened, a mixture of relief and panic surging through her. "Rex, he's here. He's here," she cried, her voice breaking as tears pricked the corners of her eyes. The officers moved faster now, guided by Rex's sure movements. Emma's legs carried her forward, her small hands brushing branches aside, heart hammering. She had never felt such a rush, such an intense blend of fear, hope, and determination. Every instinct she had honed over years of friendship, play, and daring felt alive in that moment. She whispered to Max, though he could not see her yet, promising him safety, promising she would not let anything harm him. The bond she felt with the dog, the trust in her own intuition, and the urgent need to protect Max propelled her through the final stretch of the trail. At the far edge of the woods, a faint shadow stirred, and Emma's heart caught. This was it. This was the moment when courage, hope, and persistence converged. Her voice trembled, half shout, half plea. Max, it's me. I'm here. Rex barked softly, circling, signaling recognition. The officers followed close, ready to help. But it was Emma's determination and Rex's trained instincts that had guided them here. The journey had only begun, but the first glimpse of hope had appeared. Emma's small frame trembled with emotion, and for the first time that day, a flicker of relief lit her eyes. The morning air had grown warmer as Emma, Officer Daniels, and Rex pressed deeper into the wooded area behind the old park. Every step seemed heavier than the last, weighed down by fear, hope, and urgency, all tangled together. Emma's small hands clutched Rex's leash tightly, knuckles white. He's here, I know it, she whispered, though her voice trembled, betraying the anxiety that coiled in her chest. Officer Daniels nodded, but kept his tone calm. We're with you, Emma. Let's find him. The reassurance helped only slightly. The fear for Max's safety clung to her like a second skin. Rex moved with deliberate precision, nose low, tail stiff, ears twitching. Emma marveled at the dog's focus, how every muscle seemed attuned to an invisible trail. She could feel his tension and anticipation, a silent communication passing between them. This way, Rex, she murmured, urging him forward, her voice barely audible above the rustle of leaves and distant bird calls. The shadows of the trees stretched long, creating pockets of uncertainty, but she refused to falter. Every instinct screamed that Max was close. The officers followed cautiously, flashlights cutting through the underbrush. Stay on the trail, Officer Daniels warned. We don't know what's out here. Emma's eyes darted nervously. Every snapped twig or shifting shadow made her stomach lurch, but she pushed the fear down, focusing on Rex and the signs he was following. The dog's paw prints were deliberate, almost rhythmic, as if he knew exactly where he was leading them. Emma's heart beat in tandem with his steps, a silent drum of anticipation. Emma remembered Max's laughter, his uneven run, the way he always carried his small notebook filled with sketches. Images of him made her stomach twist with worry. Max, it's okay. We'll find you, she whispered, her voice trembling. Rex barked softly in response, moving a little faster, ears pricked forward. Emma followed, heart in her throat, every nerve alert. She had never been this scared, yet she had never felt such resolve. She had to trust Rex and herself. A sudden movement caught Emma's eye. A backpack strap snagged on a low branch, half hidden by fallen leaves. She froze. That's his, she breathed. Officer Daniels moved forward to inspect, his expression hardening. You are right, Emma, he said quietly. This is Max's backpack. Relief surged, but fear remained, sharper now, because they were close, and proximity often intensified danger. Emma's hands shook as she reached out to touch the strap, confirming what her eyes had told her. Max had been here recently. The search intensified, tension tightening like a wire around Emma's chest. Every direction seemed the same: thick trees, fallen logs, and underbrush that snagged shoes and scratched skin. Rex sniffed, paused, then darted forward, pulling gently but firmly toward a narrow opening in the foliage. "This way, Rex. Please," Emma urged, almost in a whisper. The officers followed, cautious but now fully alert. Each step felt monumental, as if time itself slowed, stretching the seconds between heartbeats into endless moments of suspense. Emma's mind raced with what ifs. What if Max had wandered too far? What if he was hurt? Her chest ached with worry, but determination overrode panic. "He can't be alone," she murmured. "Not Max. He's too smart. He'd call if he could." Rex seemed to sense her urgency, pushing forward with unwavering focus. The bond between girl and dog had transformed into a partnership, a silent understanding that they were in this together. Suddenly, Rex stopped, nose quivering, ears high. He circled a low thicket, growling softly, then returned to Emma's side, scratching at the ground. Officer Daniels crouched, scanning the area, the shadows dark between the trees. "Over here," he called softly, signaling the others. Emma's breath caught, and a mixture of fear and hope tightened in her throat. Something was very near. She whispered Max's name again, trembling, letting her voice carry all the emotion she had held back. "Max, it's Emma. I'm here." The sound of faint coughing drifted through the air, almost lost among the rustling leaves. Emma's eyes widened, heart hammering. "Rex, did you hear that?" The dog barked softly, circling once more, then fixated on a small, hidden path obscured by tall grass. Emma's small hands clenched the leash tighter. "He's here," she said firmly, conviction laced with desperation. The officers nodded, voices low, moving carefully. Every rustle now seemed amplified, every shadow a potential danger. But Emma could feel hope blooming amid the tension. They pushed forward, carefully stepping through the dense undergrowth. Emma's thoughts flashed to Max's last day at school, his small, excited grin, the notebook he had clutched all day. She imagined him calling for help, worried, but too frightened to move. Tears blurred her vision, and she whispered to herself, "Hang on, Max, we're coming." Rex nudged her hand, sensing her fear, grounding her in the moment. Each step brought them closer, the sound of his weak voice growing more distinct. Finally, a soft whimper carried through the underbrush. Emma froze. "Max?" she called, her voice breaking. Rex barked excitedly, circling and scratching at the ground, alerting the officers. Emma pushed through the last thicket, branches scratching her arms, lungs burning, until she saw a small figure huddled behind a fallen log. Max's face was pale, eyes wide with fear, but he was alive. "Emma," he whispered, voice trembling. Relief crashed through her like a wave. She dropped to her knees, tears streaming, hands reaching to hold him. Officer Daniels and the other officers moved quickly to secure the area, but Emma's attention was entirely on Max. "It's okay," she soothed, brushing dirt from his clothes. "Rex found you. We've got you now." Max's small body shook as he clutched her hand. "I was so scared," he admitted, voice quivering. Emma held him tighter, whispering reassurances. The emotional tension melted into gratitude, but the adrenaline remained, a reminder of the danger they had narrowly avoided. The search intensified, tension tightening like a wire around Emma's chest. Every direction seemed the same: thick trees, fallen logs, and underbrush that snagged shoes, ate and scratched skin. Rex sniffed, paused, then darted forward, pulling gently but firmly toward a narrow opening in the foliage. "This way, Rex. Please," Emma urged, almost in a whisper. The officers followed, cautious, but now fully alert. Each step felt monumental, as if time itself slowed, stretching the seconds between heartbeats into endless moments of suspense. Emma's mind raced with what ifs. What if Max had wandered too far? What if he was hurt? Her chest ached with worry, but determination overrode panic. "He can't be alone," she murmured. "Not Max. He's too smart. He'd call if he could." Rex seemed to sense her urgency, pushing forward with unwavering focus. The bond between girl and dog had transformed into a partnership, a silent understanding that they were in this together. Suddenly, Rex stopped, nose quivering, ears high. He circled a low thicket, growling softly, then returned to Emma's side, scratching at the ground. Officer Daniels crouched, scanning the area, the shadows dark between the trees. "Over here," he called softly, signaling the others. Emma's breath caught, and a mixture of fear and hope tightened in her throat. Something was very near. She whispered Max's name again, trembling, letting her voice carry all the emotion she had held back. "Max, it's Emma. I'm here." The sound of faint coughing drifted through the air, almost lost among the rustling leaves. Emma's eyes widened, heart hammering. "Rex, did you hear that?" The dog barked softly, circling once more, then fixated on a small, hidden path obscured by tall grass. Emma's small hands clenched the leash tighter. "He's here," she said firmly, conviction laced with desperation. The officers nodded, voices low, moving carefully. Every rustle now seemed amplified, every shadow a potential danger. But Emma could feel hope blooming amid the tension. They pushed forward, carefully stepping through the dense undergrowth. Emma's thoughts flashed to Max's last day at school, his small excited grin, the notebook he had clutched all day. She imagined him calling for help, worried, but too frightened to move. Tears blurred her vision, and she whispered to herself, "Hang on, Max, we're coming." Rex nudged her hand, sensing her fear, grounding her in the moment. Each step brought them closer, the sound of his weak voice growing more distinct. Finally, a soft whimper carried through the underbrush. Emma froze. "Max," she called, her voice breaking. Rex barked excitedly, circling and scratching at the ground, alerting the officers. Emma pushed through the last thicket, branches scratching her arms, lungs burning, until she saw a small figure huddled behind a fallen log. Max's face was pale, eyes wide with fear, but he was alive. "Emma," he whispered, voice trembling. Relief crashed through her like a wave. She dropped to her knees, tears streaming, hands reaching to hold him. Officer Daniels and the other officers moved quickly to secure the area, but Emma's attention was entirely on Max. "It's okay," she soothed, brushing dirt from his clothes. Rex found you. We've got you now. Max's small body shook as he clutched her hand. I was so scared, he admitted, voice quivering. Emma held him tighter, whispering reassurances. The emotional tension melted into gratitude, but the adrenaline remained, a reminder of the danger they had narrowly avoided. Rex barked softly, tail wagging, as Emma stood and looked around, realizing how close they had come to disaster. The sun had climbed higher, casting light through the trees, illuminating the path that had brought them here. Emma felt a swell of pride, tempered by lingering fear. She had trusted her instincts, guided Rex, and never let panic take over, and it had made the difference. Max's safety was a testament to courage, trust, and determination, and the bond between child and dog had proven unbreakable. As they made their way back toward the edge of the woods, Emma held Max's hand tightly, eyes on the path ahead. Officer Daniels spoke quietly. Emma, you were incredible. Rex listened because of you. Emma's cheeks flushed, a mix of pride and lingering fear. The walk back was slow, careful, each step a victory, each breath a reminder of the stakes they had faced. The search had ended for now, but the memory of tension, hope, and ultimate relief would stay with Emma forever. By the time they emerged from the trees, the familiar neighborhood streets felt different, brighter, safer, yet forever touched by the ordeal. Emma looked at Max, smiling through tears. We did it, she whispered. Max squeezed her hand, voice small but steady. We did, thanks to Rex. The bond they had strengthened, the lessons learned in fear and courage, and the relief of survival filled the quiet afternoon with profound emotion. Emma realized bravery was not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward despite it, and she had proven it in every step she had taken alongside Rex. The secluded clearing behind the old shed was quiet except for the soft rustle of leaves and Rex's alert breathing. Emma's heart thumped in her chest, a mix of hope and fear tangled into a tight knot. The narrow patch of light filtering through the trees highlighted the uneven ground, making shadows seem longer and more menacing than they were. She knelt beside Rex, feeling his steady warmth under her hands, and whispered, He's close, isn't he? The dog's ears twitched, eyes bright and focused, signaling that her instincts had not failed. Officer Daniels motioned for the others to spread out cautiously. Keep your distance, but stay close, he instructed. Emma's small frame trembled with anticipation. Every sound, the creak of a branch, the distant call of a bird, even the wind brushing the leaves, felt magnified, charged with possibility. She whispered Max's name, her voice cracking with emotion, each syllable carrying equal parts reassurance and desperation. Max, it's me. We're here. You're safe now. Rex moved ahead, low to the ground, sniffing, circling, then returning briefly to Emma, brushing against her as if to offer comfort. Emma felt an unspoken connection, a lifeline threaded with trust. She had never felt such reliance on another creature, yet the dog's precision, focus, and responsiveness filled her with a fragile, determined hope. She pressed forward, following him carefully, stepping over tangled roots and fallen branches, heart racing with each motion. A faint sound reached her ears, a small, muffled cry, almost imperceptible at first. Emma froze. Max? She whispered, breath catching in her throat. The cry repeated. A soft cough mingled with a whimper, her chest constricted with a mix of relief and terror. Rex, did you hear that? The dog barked softly, circling toward a shadowed corner behind the shed. Emma's small fingers gripped his fur tightly, grounding herself in the moment, in the certainty that Max was near. The officers moved cautiously, flashlights cutting narrow paths through the dim shadows. Emma's knees ached from crouching, her arms scraped by branches, but she ignored the discomfort. All that mattered was Max. Every instinct screamed urgency. He's here, she whispered, a mixture of command and reassurance. The air felt charged, every second stretching like an eternity. She took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders, and followed Rex as he led the way toward a tangle of fencing and underbrush. Max's small, frightened figure emerged from the shadows, hunched and trembling, eyes wide with fear. Emma's chest constricted as tears pricked the corners of her eyes. Max, I'm here. It's okay, she cried, rushing forward. The officers stepped carefully, ensuring the boy's safety, but it was Emma who reached him first, dropping to her knees, brushing dirt and leaves from his jacket. Max clung to her, small body shaking, whispering, I was scared. I didn't know what to do. Emma held him close, rocking him gently, whispering reassurances. You're safe now. Rex found you. I told you he would. Max's small hands trembled against her, gripping tightly. Emma's heart ached at the sight of his fear, but relief surged stronger, a wave that left her both exhausted and exhilarated. The bond between them felt renewed and strengthened. A tether formed through terror and trust. She stroked his hair, murmuring, You're okay. We're okay. Officer Daniels knelt nearby, studying the scene with a mix of professional caution and awe. Emma, he said softly, you were incredible. Your instincts. You guided him here. Emma's small body shook, partly from adrenaline, partly from the emotional weight of the moment. She looked at Rex, who wagged his tail slowly, ears alert, eyes meeting hers with quiet approval. The dog had responded to her faith, her courage, and her determination. Together, they had bridged the gap between fear and safety. Max began to calm, his small voice still trembling. I thought no one would find me, he admitted. Emma smiled softly, brushing leaves from his hair. You weren't alone, Max. You never were. I was here, and Rex was here. We wouldn't let anything happen to you. Her words were simple, but they carried the weight of promise and experience. The quiet bravery of someone younger yet wiser in the moment than most adults could be. The officers helped Max to his feet, supporting him as he staggered slightly. Emma held his hand, never letting go, her small fingers wrapped around his tightly. The woods that had seemed so frightening moments ago now felt like the stage of their triumph. The relief was almost palpable, a tangible shift in the air. Each breath Emma took carried a mix of exhaustion and elation. She had faced fear, trusted instincts, and seen the results manifest before her eyes. Rex nudged Max gently, tail wagging, as if acknowledging the boy's courage and resilience. Max hesitated, then reached down to pat the dog's head, a small smile breaking across his pale face. Emma's heart swelled at the scene, The bond between human and dog, the emotional release, the unspoken understanding of trust, bravery, and loyalty. It was a moment suspended in time, delicate and profound, and Emma felt its weight fully. The officers began clearing the area, guiding Max and Emma back toward safer ground. "You both did a remarkable job today," Officer Daniels said, voice steady but warm. Emma's small smile was tinged with fatigue, relief, and quiet pride. Max leaned slightly on her, exhausted but safe, his small hand still entwined with hers. The journey back was slow, careful, a mix of tentative steps and relieved laughter. The sunlight now streaming through the trees felt almost sacred, bathing the trio in warmth, a symbol of hope and safety restored. Emma looked at Max, voice soft but steady. "You're safe now, I promise. We'll get you home, and nothing will happen again." Max nodded, voice small but sure. "Thanks, Emma. I knew you'd find me." She smiled, brushing strands of hair from his face. "We did it together. You're brave, too." The simplicity of her words carried the enormity of the moment. In those few sentences lay courage, compassion, and the realization that bravery came in many forms. Small, quiet, persistent forms that did not always roar, but acted with unwavering resolve. As they emerged from the clearing, Emma felt a flood of emotions: relief, pride, exhaustion, and a profound bond formed not only with Max, but with Rex, whose trained instincts had guided them when fear threatened to take over. She realized that courage was not the absence of fear, but the strength to act despite it. Max, now safe and trembling slightly, mirrored her relief, leaning into her presence, as if drawing energy from her small but unyielding bravery. The sunlight fell golden across the clearing as they reached the edge of the woods. Emma's small hand remained tightly clasped around Max's. Rex trotted beside them, ears alert, tail wagging, a silent sentinel who had been the bridge between despair and safety. The officers followed, voices calm but relieved, acknowledging the extraordinary courage and determination that had guided this rescue. For Emma, it was more than relief. It was a profound lesson in faith, intuition, and the power of trust. The afternoon sun bathed the neighborhood streets in a warm, golden glow as Emma, Max, and Rex walked toward safety. Max clutched Emma's hand tightly, his small frame still trembling, but the fear that had gripped him that morning was slowly easing. Emma felt the weight of the day's events settle on her shoulders. Exhaustion mingled with a deep sense of triumph. She glanced down at Rex, whose steady gaze and calm demeanor reminded her that their teamwork had made all the difference. The bond between them, forged through tension, fear, and determination, felt unbreakable. At the edge of the park, families gathered after noticing the police presence, whispering in curiosity and awe. Emma's parents rushed forward, their faces a mixture of worry, relief, and pride. Her mother enveloped her in a tight embrace, whispering, "I was so scared, Emma." Her father knelt beside Max, brushing his hair from his forehead, voice thick with emotion. "You're safe now, son, thanks to her." And Rex, Emma's small chest swelled with pride, but she quickly shifted her attention to Max, who looked pale but safe, eyes wide as he took in the familiar surroundings. Officer Daniels approached, kneeling beside Emma with a gentle smile. You are incredible today. Your instincts, your determination. It saved Max. You stayed calm when it mattered most. Emma's cheeks flushed, and she looked down, feeling both pride and embarrassment. I just knew something was wrong, she said softly. I couldn't stop thinking about him. Her voice quivered, but the officers could hear the courage threaded through her words. It wasn't the size of her frame or her age that mattered. It was the strength of her heart, the crowd murmured, impressed by the small girl who had guided a police dog through dense woods to find a missing child. Emma felt a wave of humility mixed with satisfaction. She had never imagined that her actions could make such a difference. Rex nudged her gently, tail wagging, as if acknowledging her bravery. Emma laughed softly, brushing his fur, whispering, We did it, buddy. We really did it. The dog barked softly in reply, eyes bright and alert, sharing a silent celebration that only those who had faced danger together could understand. Max's parents pulled him close, their relief palpable. Tears streaked down their faces as they whispered apologies and thanks. We were so worried, his mother said, voice trembling. I can't believe you found him. Thank you, Emma. Thank you, Rex. Max looked up at Emma, small smile breaking through his weariness. I knew you'd find me, he whispered. Emma's heart swelled. She reached out, brushing his hair back from his forehead. I told you I would, she said softly, and I meant it. The emotional weight of the day seemed to lift slightly, replaced by a tender sense of accomplishment. The police officers guided everyone back toward the station, ensuring that Max was unharmed and that the scene was secure. Emma walked beside him, hands still intertwined, feeling the boy's small fingers grip hers with trust and gratitude. Officer Daniels stayed close, offering quiet words of encouragement and praise. You've shown remarkable courage today, he said. And not just courage, patience, focus, and leadership. That's rare at any age. Emma's small smile was tinged with pride and fatigue, her heart still racing from the morning's events. She glanced at Rex, who trotted obediently at her side, ears perked, tail swaying. Back at the station, the community gathered to acknowledge the bravery of both the girl and the dog. The police chief presented Emma with a small certificate of recognition, commending her for her courage and quick thinking. She held it carefully, feeling a mix of pride and disbelief. She had never thought she would be celebrated for doing what she felt was simply necessary. Max's parents expressed heartfelt thanks again, their gratitude deep and sincere. The scene was filled with quiet emotion, laughter, and tears, a mosaic of relief, pride, and human connection. Emma watched Max reconnect with his friends, his small steps cautious, but confident now that he was safe. She felt a surge of protective pride, realizing the power of intuition, courage, and persistence. Rex sat nearby, tail wagging, watching them all, his presence a steady reminder of the partnership that had made the rescue possible. Emma knelt beside him, whispering softly, We made a difference, Rex. Look at him. Safe. The dog nudged her gently, eyes meeting hers with quiet approval, a bond deeper than words could express. As the sun dipped lower, painting the sky in warm oranges and soft purples, Emma reflected on the day's journey. She had faced fear, trusted her instincts, and acted when others hesitated. She had discovered the power of empathy, courage, and the importance of belief in oneself. Max's safety was a triumph, but the lessons Emma carried were far more enduring. Bravery could come in the smallest forms. Trust could bridge the gap between doubt and action, and love, whether for a friend, a family member, or a loyal dog, was a force that could overcome fear. Later, as Emma walked home with Max and Rex trailing beside her, she felt a quiet sense of completion. The world seemed warmer, brighter, and more filled with possibility. The day's events had tested her, pushed her beyond what she thought she was capable of, and in doing so, had taught her the depth of her own courage. Max leaned against her slightly, eyes heavy but grateful. "Thank you," he whispered again. Emma smiled, squeezing his hand gently. "We found each other. That's all that matters." That evening, as the neighborhood settled into quiet, Emma sat with her parents, recounting the day's events. Every detail mattered: the fear, the hope, the steps through the woods, and the moments of connection with Rex. Her parents listened, pride and amazement etched on their faces. Emma realized that even in moments of terror, clarity and courage could prevail. She had not only helped save her friend, but had also discovered something profound about herself. Her small voice, when paired with determination and faith, could make an extraordinary difference. As night fell, Emma tucked Max safely into bed at his home, watching him drift into sleep with a relieved sigh. She patted Rex, now resting beside them, and whispered, "You're amazing, just like him, like us." The dog's soft whine of contentment was the final note of closure for the day, a silent acknowledgement of a job well done. Emma left quietly, knowing that the lessons, bonds, and courage she had discovered would remain with her forever. The world felt full of promise, bravery, and the quiet heroism found in unexpected places. The town had returned to its quiet rhythm, but the story of Emma, Max, and Rex lingered in every heart that had witnessed it. Emma's bravery, Max's resilience, and the loyal dog's unwavering instincts had reminded everyone that courage often comes in the smallest forms, and that even a child's voice can make a profound difference. The bond forged in the fear and uncertainty of the morning would never fade. It was a story of trust, determination, and love, proof that hope could guide you through the darkest moments. Neighbors whispered about the girl who refused to give up, and officers recounted the day with awe. Emma, small but unwavering, had become a symbol of quiet heroism. Rex, ever loyal, had shown the power of partnership between humans and animals. And Max, once terrified and alone, now understood the strength of friendship and the comfort of courage. In moments of doubt, remember Emma's resolve. Sometimes the bravest act is simply to act, to trust your instincts, and to believe in the ones you love.